start to implement a life of prevention. What does that look like? Correcting deficiencies, making sure you eat to live instead of eating to have fun, eating for your taste buds, eating to die. Okay, eat to live. Make sure when you're making food choices that the foods are actually living foods. All right, stop. Well, we're going to get into that a little bit later, but start eating like an adult. And what I mean by that is at some point, all of our parents and grandparents have told us to eat more veggies. All right, start eating like you care about your body. Start eating like you want to live a long and prosperous life. Instead of a life where at 40, you're having the early signs of dementia. You're diabetic, you're hypertensive, you had a stroke. The list goes on at 40, which is the halfway point of life. So start a life of prevention by eating to live, by correcting deficiencies, detoxing and fasting quarterly. That's one of the things that I do. It's my routine. Like I'm on my own detox right now. All right. I'm doing my full body detox. I do it every 3 to 4 months, like an oil change. All right. That's my maintenance plan for my body. And people will say, well, you're eating right. You corrected your deficiencies. You go to the gym. Why you need to do a whole detox? Well, I live in this toxic world. Okay. I don't grow all of my food. I grow a lot of it, but I don't grow all of it. I'm on airplanes. I'm exposed to water. Okay. Even though, I can't choose where the water comes from, even though I can put a filter on it, but I can't choose the quality of air. I don't even know what's in the air half the time. Okay. So that's why it's so important to detox. And if you don't have a very healthy lifestyle, then you have a very toxic lifestyle if you're not aware of the toxins. Especially when you don't consider toxins like the ones you put on your skin, the one that you put in your hair, the one you're brushing your teeth with, and the list goes on and on and on. So start to embrace a preventative health lifestyle. Okay, that's number one. All right, start that now. All right, don't wait until you get a diagnosis to start a preventative lifestyle, because now you got to start a healing lifestyle. And I'll tell you, prevention is much easier than healing. Okay, so number one, start a preventative health lifestyle. Okay, get those routines in place. All right, I want to really emphasize that when it comes to prevention, is what you do on a day-to-day, but it's also making sure you have these processes in place. The same processes like you have for your car, to do an oil change, to change the brakes, to rotate the tires, all these things you're doing for your car. All right. All these things you're doing for your house, maintenance. You have to do that for your body. All right. That's prevention. All right. Hugely important. So that's number one. Number two, check your blood pressure weekly. Check your blood sugar monthly. All right. Now, and the reason why I'm saying that is if you don't have any blood pressure issues or blood sugar issues, I still want you to check them. Check your blood pressure weekly. Check your blood sugar monthly. All right. You don't want to just show up at the doctor and they tell you, hey, did you know you're pre-diabetic? Or show up and say, hey, you need to be on high blood pressure medication. You should know before they know. All right. We got to get out of this habit. First of all, most people are afraid to go to the doctor because they're afraid to get bad news. Okay. Because they don't want to be on medication. And second of all, putting all of that responsibility, your health, in somebody else's hand is, in my opinion, is irresponsible. Okay. Your health is your responsibility. All right. It's not Dr. Price. It's not your husband's. It's not your wife's. It's not anybody but yours. All right. So it's just really important to understand that you have to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And one of the ways that you could do that, and the reason why I'm saying this, blood pressure and blood sugar, because those two metrics will tell you a lot about your health. Okay. If your blood sugars are high or all over the place, it stands a chance that your insulin levels are probably all over the place too, and you have insulin resistance. Okay. Insulin resistance is one of the foundations of why people have so much dis-ease. Okay. Everything from polycystic ovarian syndrome to even cancer. Okay. Same thing with high blood pressure, which is nicknamed the silent assassin. Okay, and the reason why is because most people don't have many symptoms from having high blood pressure. Okay, the symptoms aren't that noticeable. You may have a headache, but you may think to yourself, I just got a headache. Okay, and so there's a lot of telltale signs and symptoms that people don't pay attention to when they have high blood pressure, but then they have a stroke, or then they have a heart attack. And blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for both a stroke and a heart attack. All right. So if you're checking your blood pressure weekly. All right. You're checking your blood sugar at least monthly. Then it puts you ahead of the game. So even before you go in for your checkup, you already know where you're at with your blood pressure. You know where you're at with your blood sugar, and you can get a monitor from over the counter at a pharmacy or a health food store. Get a monitor for both your blood pressure and your blood sugar. All right. Go to a free health fair. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right. This way, when you see your blood pressure starts to notch up a little bit, you can think about, what have I been eating? All right. You need to put down the 20-piece wing. All right. All right. You need to put down the hog maw or whatever it is you're eating, or all the fried food and all the seafood with the creamy stuff and all the salt and all the processed food. You need to put it down. So go back, look at what you've been eating, check yourself, move forward. All right. So hugely important. That's a big change to make before you turn 40. All right. This is just you checking yourself. All right. There's no age where you're not supposed to do this. By the time you get in your 20s, you should be doing this, especially in Western societies. If you live in a Western country, you should be doing this. All right. So that's number 2. All right. Number 3, and this is the big one. Do shadow work to heal unresolved traumas. Okay. Do this before you turn 40. I'm going to explain why it's so important you do that before you turn 40. All right. What is shadow work? Shadow work, or our shadow, are parts of ourselves that we disowned, disconnected, and swept under the rug. And we don't want to remember, we don't want to talk about, and we don't want to revisit. But those are the things that are keeping us blocked. Those are the things that are making us sick, and we don't even consider it. All right. So doing shadow work for unresolved traumas is very important. You need to sit down with yourself, create a whole entire list of things that happened to you that left a mark. Okay. All right. Whether that was with mom, whether that was with dad, whether that was with friends, whether that was with a teacher, I need you to write down all of those things on a list. And I need you to rate them from 1 to 10, how bad they were. Anything above a 3, you need to address. Okay. Now, if you need help with that process, because that's not what this video is about, please read my book, Life is My Guru. Okay. Life is My Guru, a practical guide to understanding what your life experiences are trying to tell you. Okay. There's also a journal that goes with it, because in this book, I talk about all of those unresolved traumas that I had to go through. I give you my literal life experiences, not only the trauma that I went through, but how I went through the healing process with those, how I interpreted what life was trying to teach me. Because in the book, what I explain to people is life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Okay. And if you have problems revisiting those traumas, that's why I wrote this book, Life is My Guru. So check that out on my website, drbobbyprice.com. You'll learn a lot about me, of course, and that's me being vulnerable, sharing my life with you. I'm a very private person when it comes to my personal life, but what I've come to understand is that when we share our stories with others, this inspires other people to share their stories or revisit their stories so that they can do the healing too. And a huge reason why I'm able to be here with you today in terms of being a guide along many of your healing journeys is simply because I went through the healing myself. Okay. And now I'm just simply sharing that healing journey with you. And so to become the highest version of yourself, you cannot do that if you're not willing to heal those parts of yourself that unfortunately have been again, you disconnected yourself from, you swept under the rug, and you don't want to revisit. All right. So healing those things are going to be very important by the time you turn 40, because the last thing you don't want to go through is what many refer to as a midlife crisis. And in my belief, the reason why so many people go through what they refer to as a midlife crisis is because they have not addressed many of these unresolved traumas that could be generational traumas that have been traveling down through the family. And you may have to be that person who breaks the cycle, okay, and changes everything. And I decided to raise my hand and my family and to be that person. So I hope that you do too. Because again, the other half of your 40 years is supposed to be nothing but prosperity with relationships, mentality, emotionally, spiritually, physically. But you can't do that again if you don't heal these unresolved traumas. Okay, so got to do that by the time you're 40. All right. I highly recommend you start that as early as possible. All right, because I'll tell you, the healed version of you makes very different decisions from the unhealed version of you. So if you're 22 right now and you haven't addressed those issues, the unfortunate thing is you're going to be making decisions based on the unhealed version of you that makes very poor decisions sometimes, makes very toxic decisions, makes decisions based out of fear, makes decisions based out of hurt and anger. Okay, so you'll have to go through all of these things in your life as a result of not being healed in that area. So I highly recommend you get in touch with that part of yourself and start to explore those unresolved traumas.